Hello, my name is Zachary Haas, and in this innovation screencast, I wanted to discuss green information technology focusing in the renewable energy sector. The renewable energy I wanted to focus on was the renewable energy source tidal power. I wanted to research this topic because this renewable energy technology can be utilized because the ocean is the world's biggest green energy gold mine. And because of that, it gave me a strong interest to learning about a new renewable energy technology that can be utilized. So in this screencast, I want to discuss the history of tidal power, talk about why the ocean is the next energy gold mine, explain why this energy stands out among all other renewable energy sources, and then I will talk about the different methods of generating tidal power and explain the advantage of this renewable energy technology. So the history of tidal power was the generating of technology from the ocean has been interestingly old method that has been improved upon over the years through innovations in technology. Tidal power is a form of hydropower that converts the energy produced by tides into electricity. From this, the first ever recorded use of tide mills was during the Middle Ages in Europe. Evidence of these tidal mills were seen in archaeological projects on the shores of the River Fleet in London, England. These tide mills were used at the time as dams that were constructed on inlets, which in result created reservoirs. So when the ocean was at high tide, incoming water was collected in these storage ponds through a single gate, which was closed. And then when the tide receded, the water would turn these water wheels, which were mechanically powered and was able to use mill grain. Due to the popularity of tide mills, at one point in time, there were over 750 tide mills operating along the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. They were typically 300 in North America, 200 in the British Isles, and 100 in France. Only in the 19th century was this process used in creating electricity due to the innovations in technology after the Industrial Revolution. The world's first tidal power plant was created in was called the Rance Tidal Power Station in the Rance River in France. This became operational in 1966. Currently today, there are 6 modern tidal power plants globally, which gives a concern why we don't have more of this innovation today, because the technology has been growing increasingly in this renewable energy source. So now I want to discuss why this green energy technology is the next gold mine. So due to companies and governments shifting away from fossil fuels, renewable energy sources such as solar power and wind farm are increasingly the demand is increasingly dramatic. What is surprisingly ignored by the public is that this is an enormously unused power source in the ocean. Did you know that constant flow of water makes up 3/4 of the renewable energy globally? This is due because of the abundance of hydroelectric dams globally, which primarily obtains energy through rivers and lakes. Most importantly, tidal power can be implemented wherever there is changing tides, which makes this production of green energy limitless. In efforts to maximize the efficiency in harnessing this technology, technology has been created through tidal power to make tidal power more effective in strong currents and tides that change quickly. So a study that was conducted found that if we produce tidal energy from the waves off the Oregon coast, energy would thrive astronomically and would and could power 28 million homes annually. In addition, if Alaska utilized tidal power, it would thrive astronomically with having 44,000 miles of coastline and having one of the biggest tidal ranges globally. So the U.S. Department of Energy stated that if we produce this tidal power nationally, we can meet 1/3 of our energy demands in the United States. From this data, it's hard to ignore why this green information technology should be used for the benefits of renewable energy and green energy. So now I want to discuss why this energy stands out. Ultimately, tidal power has many advantages over wind and solar power. To start, tidal power is the only renewable energy that is not generated from the relationships between the Earth and the Moon systems. This technology is unique because every other natural energy source is manipulated by human technology, which is created directly or indirectly from the sun. Some examples are fossil fuels, nuclear energy, solar energy, wind power, and biofuels. This technology is considered a renewable energy source due to the gravitational involvement with the Moon, Sun, and Earth's rotation. In result, tidal power is practically unlimited, which could change the way we consume energy globally. Another aspect of why this energy source stands out is due from half the U.S. population living within 50 miles of the ocean. In result, tidal energy sources could be used close to consumers, which would have many benefits, such as making energy production cost-effective, convenience for utility companies, and by lowering our greenhouse gas emissions through transportation. Another reason why this green innovation technology stands out is due to wind and solar energy only accounting for 4% of the U.S. energy consumption. This is because of levelized costs to produce these powers are a little bit too expensive. Levelized cost is the lifetime cost of building, fixing, and operating these plants divided by the total amount of energy produced. From this, the levelized cost from wind power costs $65 to $175 per megawatt, and the levelized cost for solar power is between $150 to $195 per megawatt. Ultimately, the reason why these two green energies are not consumed more in the U.S. is because of the cheapness of fossil fuels. The levelized cost of these natural gas plants costs $14 per megawatt, which makes it hard to shift to green energies in this capitalist economy. In addition, another attribute of why green energy consumption is low comes with the price paid by consumers and modern enterprises for renewable energy, which are even higher with tax incentives being included. So now I want to go through the methods of tidal power. So tidal power ultimately has three generation methods that are used to produce electricity, which are tidal steam generator, tidal barrage, and dynamic tidal power. The tidal steam generator is a machine that harnesses energy from moving water or tides. These machines are similar to underwater wind turbines and are often called tidal turbines. This method is the cheapest and has the least amount of impacts on the environment out of the three methods of tidal power generation. These tidal power steam generators are still at their infancy. So far, there have not been the primarily standard of this technology in place, but in the next year or two, they are planning to implement this technology. From this, many companies have created prototypes of the most effective tidal steam generator, but only one company has made an effective prototype, and this will be implemented next year. The second method is the tidal barrage, which is a structure made up like a dam. These structures ultimately collect energy from massive amounts of water coming in and out of the bay or rivers from the tide. Unlike dams, the dam water on one side, the tidal barrage allows water to flow during high tide and releases the water during low tide. This method is controlled by measuring the tidal flow through technology, which releases water through a sluice gate. This energy is captured by placing turbines next to these sluice gates, which in result power the turbines. So the next one I wanted to discuss was the tidal steam generator, because this is a massive like dam structure and that can be extended across the coast directly into the ocean. This method is effective because of the dam is in a T shape, which blocks the ocean tidal waves, which can contain powerful ocean currents. Because of the dam blocking the tide, the tidal movement changes parallel, which changes the water direction and moving in one direction. This method could be used both ways in a T-shaped structure, which ultimately maximizes the efficiency of these plants. These dams have many benefits, such as producing 8,000 megawatts of installed capacity, and most importantly, one dynamic tidal power dam could supply energy for 3.4 million Americans a year. In addition, dynamic tidal power does not require a high natural tidal range, which means that these can be implemented virtually anywhere on the coastline. So now I want to discuss the advantages of tidal power. Tidal power is a beneficial technology because we can predict tides. This knowledge ultimately gives us an advantage over other energy sources because the rise and fall of tides are more cynical than unpredicted weather patterns. Implementing this power on a global scale is positive for our climate because it produces zero gas emissions, unlike fossil fuels. Tidal power also has high energy density that is much higher than other green energy technology sources such as wind and solar energy. Another advantage for this power is that it involves no fuel to generate electricity, unlike thermal, gas, or oil powered stations, because tidal power only needs to use water for production. In addition, tidal power plants have a low cost. For example, the Rance Tidal Power Station, which is the biggest tidal power plant in France, runs on 1.5 cents per kilowatt. This cost is astronomically lower than nuclear and coal plants, which are the cheapest form of power. Another aspect that has significant advantage is the long lifespan of these tidal systems that they have, which could function for over 100 years. From the tidal energy plants only having a very low life cycle cost because of its long-term use, it surpasses nuclear power plants. Tidal power is also the most efficient out of all the renewable energy sources because of its high load factor of approximately 80%, which is equal to thermal power. Other renewable energy sources such as wind and solar only have a high load factor of 15 to 40%, which is very low compared to fossil fuels. In conclusion, this data on the advantages of tidal power technology proves that it can compete against fossil fuels and be cost effective for modern enterprises and for home consumers, and is why that this green technology, primarily focused in renewable energy, is going to be one of the most biggest impacts for the future. So due to this tidal power having tremendous potential for our future, and because of how clean the renewable energy is, this is why I chose to research this green IT technology innovation, and why it was very interesting to me. Thank you very much for your time. See you later.